So in my opinion, the best way to find the domain is to do it without graphing. Think about what values for x you can plug in that's not going to break any math rules. When you see a square root, you should be concerned about taking the square root of a negative, and when you see x in the denominator, you should be concerned about dividing by 0. So right off the bat, I know that x has to be less than or equal to 3. Because if it was 4, 3 minus 4 would make negative 1, and you can't take the square root of negative 1. So we know it has to be at least, at most 3, or less than that. And then we also have to keep in mind that x could not be exactly 0, or else we'd be having a divide by 0 problem. So, domain of this guy is negative infinity, as low as we want, because we said it needs to be less than 3. But then once we get to 0, we have to stop and make a break, because we can't have exactly 0. And it goes up until 3, and that's where we said it can't be anything greater than that. So this is the domain. So if you look to the graph of this guy, it stops at exactly 3 on the graph. You can't have any x values bigger than 3. And then another aspect of this graph is you can have x values that you can plug in anything you want way off into negative infinity, but if you try to plug in 0, you reach that asymptote. So that's another important part. That's looking at the domain graphically. To find it out, if you have a graphing calculator, you're just finding out all the values for x where you can have a part of the line on it. And at x equals 0, there's no part.